In today's video, I'm going to bring you through one of our own clients at Brandlux Media, a brand doing over $1 million every single month. I'm going to break down exactly three main things in this video. Number one, what is their entire framework that they're utilizing to scale to over $1 million a month? Number two, what does their creative infrastructure and process look like? How are they able to build and launch new creatives weekly? And what strategies they're using. And number three, the exact ad account structure that we're currently utilizing and structuring for them that is working quite well into 2024, moving into 2025, okay? With no further ado, let's get right into this video. Great. So for the new viewers, before we get into the video, this is just the client, just so you know that I'm not making any random claims. As you can see in the last 30 days, the company, I mean, the success of this client is, of course, not only because of us. There's other teams that are making this happen, including the founders and other employees within the company. We're just part of the success, and I'm just documenting what is working and what is working for us at least. So this company is actually growing 45% in the last 3 days compared to the previous year. So amazing growth. They have a healthy returning customer rate, around 30%. They have strong metrics. And this is just to get the proof out of the way. Now, I do want to mention one thing, is that the main approach that actually allows us to get results in regardless of this client in general for our clients is actually to make sure that we funnel hack competitors that are doing exactly what we want to do for ourselves. Meaning, if we want to get to 20 million, 30 million, 40 million a year, and we're at 5 or 7, right? It's good, and it's a profitable thing for us to do, to go in and use tools like Archer, for example, which I'm a huge advocate for, because it's one of the tools that allows you to see all of the personas, top angles, USPs of our direct competitors, and look at their most recent ads, the longest running ads, the ads that are active, and also click on these ads over here and see why they're active and why they're working by looking and studying the scripts that they're using. You can actually also transcribe scripts. So there really aren't any more excuses, because we can literally go in these tools like this and funnel hack companies that are direct competitors that are absolutely killing it. So what we do and how do we get results in the first place, like what I just showed you, is literally by funnel hacking competitors and coming up with our own way of that proven strategy, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, with no further ado, let's get right into the video. Let's take a look over here. Perfect. I want to show you a couple things. As you can see, I have a lot of things to discuss over here in this video. Multiple touch points multiple topics that I want to touch base on. And the first thing that I want you to know is that companies typically that do multiple 7 and multiple 8 figures tend to prioritize MER over ROAS. And we need to understand what MER is before we go even deeper, right? MER is essentially the business ROAS. ROAS is the return on ad spend on perhaps a specific platform. This is what most people think of ROAS, and that's how they describe ROAS. But ROAS, we try to look at a business ROAS. So for every dollar that the business spends, how many dollars can the business overall generate back? So if we spend $1 between Facebook, Meta, TikTok, and Google, for every dollar that we spend, what does the business get back in terms of the return from the ads, the return from the organic, right, the email marketing, other channels, everything together? Because if we can truly understand this, then we'll think about ROAS in a different way, because ultimately the most important thing to understand is that if the MER, which is the business ROAS, the marketing efficiency ratio, the distribution, the proportion between the revenue that the company brings in and the dollar amount being spent on advertising, this is the most real number that we can ever go after. Sometimes ROAS is inflated, underinflated. How many times have we seen the ad account report 10% more, 20% less, 30% more, 30% less? It's because it's not always going to be 100% accurate, and we cannot put all of our focus on that. We need to look at what the business actually generates. If for every dollar the business gets $3 back, that's going to be just pure reality, right? It's not an approximation. It's the pure reality of the fact. We have control of the revenue that we see on our dashboards and control over how much we spend. So this overall is kind of the approach that I would take, and that our clients and all of 8-figure, 9-figure, 10-figure companies, everybody, including 7-figure company, including maybe 6-figure companies that are getting to that next level, is how you should see your business as, okay? Don't only just look at ROAS, look at the MER, how much the business is making overall. Because look, why does this not really matter too much at the end of the day? Because look, let's just say the target business ROAS is 2.5, right? Or sorry, let me reframe this. Let's just say that the target ROAS on the platform for Facebook, for example, is just 2, right? What if we get a 1.5, right? But the overall business generates a 2.5 because you have email, organic, word of mouth, affiliates, whatever other traffic sources that work together that bring it up to 2.5. Are you just going to spend less and acquire less customers just because of that reason? So hopefully you get the point, okay? So we have to prioritize this. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about that is really something, I would say a big correlation of why this business is actually generating $1 million a month. And if I have to be honest, they also have other channels and they generate their revenue in many other different ways, also in like third-party platforms like I believe Amazon and other retailers, right? So one thing that I really like about how they're scaling their business is that they have kind of like an omnipresent channel, and this is an example of one of how we acquire customers. So see a Facebook ad, a Pinterest ad, a TikTok ad, a Google ad. Typically, that's what happens. Then people see a retargeting ad, then they see an email campaign, then they see a TikTok retargeting. So what we're essentially explaining with this concept over here is that they are all over the place. Now, I'm not saying that to get from 0 or from 50 to 100K a month, 200K a month, 300K a month to $1 million a month, you need like 50 million channels. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like you can probably get there with like 1 or 2 channels, if I have to be honest. It all depends on product market fit. It all depends on like what platforms you're using, what you're selling. Of course, there's a million different kind of scenarios that can change and vary results. But overall, if you add multiple layers and if you kind of create this omnipresent system where wherever people go, they see you. So you see me on Facebook, you see me on Google, the email campaigns, the SMS campaigns, the TikTok retargeting, and boom, there's a sale. So this allows you to do 2 things. It allows you to shorten the sales cycle, which is one of the most important and most profitable things that you can do. And it increases conversion rate because people just, you need at least 7 touch points on average for somebody to buy on average. So on average, if I don't see at least 7 times the product page, and I read an article about you, an advertorial, whatever it is, if I don't have 7 touch points, I'm not going to buy. So this is also a faster way to increase that conversion and that speed to lead, right? Speed to lead in terms of conversion. So what do I say here? Most people would solely attribute the sale to TikTok, but the reality is, okay, so this is actually another argument. I wrote this because of another thing, but it also relates to what I'm talking about over here. What I say over here is that one other reason why we should not track ROAS is because sometimes the tracking is not 100% attributed to the right platform. So if we get Facebook, something that comes from Facebook, then it goes through Google, then email, then TikTok retargeting, then the sale is most likely going to be attributed to TikTok ads, right? Well, the sale would have never happened if we wouldn't have seen a Facebook ad. Now, there are softwares like Hyros and Triple Whale that do help with this kind of like following the sales journey, which is really, really good. But at the end of the day, it's never going to be 100% accurate. We're going to do as much as we can to make it as accurate as we can, which is also a reason why we should not just look at ROAS. We should also just look at MER. So hopefully you got the 2 points. The first point I made is the omnipresent, right? And the second point I made is tracking and attribution, right? So let's move on into the strategic creative testing. So we have to get results like these, you need to be able to strategically understand and where you should put your resources and priorities. If you're putting the resources and priorities in things that don't actually matter and move the needle forward, then you're wasting time. So one thing that I want to talk about over here is that if there's one thing that we've really done well, and what other teams and just the company has done well overall, not just including us, is prioritizing things that actually work and putting 80% of our resources and time and energy towards the things that actually work. Because if we put 80% on what we don't know works, then the company is just not going to be profitable, right? It's not sustainable. And sometimes I see companies that just want to test, and I understand you need to test. You need to test within what works though. and then maybe spend 20% of your time testing new concepts instead of maybe doing 50%, you don't know if it's going to work, and 50%, you know if it's going to work. You hopefully got my kind of like my small metaphor or example there, but you need to focus on what works. How do you know what works? Well, there's a lot of ways to track that. And one way that we use that is actually through dashboards. And let me just show you an example. We track all of our let me just switch between sheets. What you're seeing here, by the way, is a command center, which is one of the one sheet that we create for all clients. And this allows us to track everything like ad copy, things that we launch, creative concepts that we launch, visuals, a UGC tracker. If you want access to this sheet, which is really, really in depth, it also has like color-coded daily reportings and a lot more things. Ad copies, visuals, how we store everything. You can actually, there's a link down below. If you want access to this, give us your email and it will be in your inbox immediately. Now, how do we take control of and understand what actually works? We keep track of everything, and I speak about this every single time in my videos. If you are an old viewer or a returning viewer, you're probably rolling your eyes, but every single test that we put on the ad account, we track by product, creative concept, angle, marketing angle, main emotion, avatar customer that we're going after, the hook that we used, the messaging that we used, the ad copy that we used, and the creative that we used, whether it was an image, a video, blah, 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 blah. You get the point, right? So once we track all of this information, we then also track individually what's working, what's not working with color code, so that it's very easy to the eye to understand what's working and what's not. And then so that we can put all of our energies in the things that actually move the needle forward. And we have two very valuable columns over here, which are notes and learnings and next steps. Notes and learnings, we discuss what did we learn from this test? Was it profitable? Was it not profitable? What are the conclusions from the test? And then the next steps, okay, since this was very profitable and it clearly outperformed any other creative concept, let's double down and triple down on this concept and this angle because it's giving us profit. So with these columns and this sheet, we're also able to create graphical representations that give us an idea on how many tests we did in a month, what format was the most profitable, what is the win rate, meaning out of 10 ads, how many are winners? Are they 1, 2, 3? What percentage? Is it 30% winners, 20% winners? It gives us a very good understanding of the direction that we're taking. And with this being said, this is how we determine, okay, angle 2 and angle 3 are winners, are working. What creative concepts are working? How do we scale that and how we replicate and put all of our energies, or not all, but 80% of our energies in what actually works and gives company profit. The other two angles are the 20%, right? That's where we explore new things. We try to make it work, but we don't have a guarantee, of course. And of course, even in the things that do work, there's never a guarantee. Maybe you launch an ad with an angle that works, with a creative concept that is proven, right? But it's not as good as others. It's never going to be guaranteed, but I'm just saying put your focus on the right things so that you can scale more easily. Now, let's talk about how once we identify the winning angles and the winning kind of principles that work for the business, how do we scale? These are all creatives, right? How do we scale these creatives almost infinitely to make sure that we make we take advantage in the most profitable way of these things that are working for us, right? So what I'm gonna do is share the strategies that are working well and that we're evolving for our clients that are pumping in profitable ROAS and allowing the company to further scale, okay? So the first strategy is the B-roll strategy. I speak about this often in my videos, but the approach that we take is that we, there's two strategies that we use for this client. I'll go through both, but one that we take is that we connect with creators and we ask them to film B-rolls. What are B-rolls? B-rolls, let me see if I can find a sheet where I can explain this more in depth, but B-rolls, I don't have this. Let me just go into documents. Yeah, so these are B-rolls, okay? So B-rolls are essentially scenes, and so we create a document for each client. I've shown this in other videos as well, but what this document is that we essentially put all of the B-rolls and scenes, right? B-roll 8, your boyfriend with someone handing you a koala plushie, right? This client was selling this product. B-roll 10 is you sleeping, being happy or not happy, whatever. And so, you know, this is a mega, there's like 30 pages here, 32 pages. This is a mega B-roll folder that we create for our clients so that we can send this to the creators and they know exactly what they need to replicate. And the prices here are very similar, meaning that for And the prices here, the interesting thing is that the prices for 20 B-rolls is the same price of one video if you ask them just to do one video. And so what we do is that we train them, we send them this document that we create so they know exactly what they want. The B-rolls are done, and then we essentially give everything to an editor that combines everything. We give the script to the editor, the AI script that they use with like 11 Labs, and then they use all of the necessary B-rolls to make a story that makes sense based on the script. How do we scale this concept, right? What actually happens? These are duplicate, whatever. Let me just delete these. What actually happens here is that you can scale in different ways. Example, you can use the same exact script, but use different B-rolls examples. So instead of using B-roll 5, 7, 1, 2, 8, you can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we're creating different stories, even if it's the same story, like the AI script is the same, we can show different visuals to scale the account further. Sometimes, why is it important? Because sometimes Facebook just needs new content, okay? Sometimes it's not even asking you to like come up with like new marketing angles. It's just increasing your cost because you're not launching new ads. So the best thing that you can do is like repurpose the content, right, with the B-rolls, with the same winning script, and so you're giving Facebook and feeding it the chocolate, which it's what it's asking, the dessert. You're feeding it, right? One other way that is really, really good for scaling, which we're using for this client as well, is that we're using the same winning script with the same angle, the same marketing message, same exact storyline with the B-rolls that worked and were proven to work, but we're just using different hooks. And this is by far the most profitable way to optimize your existing winning ads and also just launch new winning ads that have very proven concepts. What are the proven concepts? The storyline, the script, and then we're just testing different hooks. And guess what? If the hook works better, we're just doing better. And we're finding new variations in hooks that can work. And guess what? If this green hook number 1 works very well, we'll just replicate it across multiple other ads, even if they have different structures in terms of the entire B-roll collection, right? The visual part, okay? That's one approach that we use, very, very cheap. The other approach that we use, because we do have a foundation, is that we have like those 2 to 3 to 4 scripts that are just pumping in revenue and profit. And so one way to scale it, which is more expensive, but it's worth it for us because it's allowing us to invest into an infrastructure and a process and a strategy that has already been proven to work by us. So one thing that we do is that we get the 2, 3, 4 scripts that work, and then we scale them horizontally with different faces, and we identify the avatar customers that resonate the most. Perhaps we notice that for this client, the high-end luxury New York accent girl that is 37 years old and has a baby and a family works. Then we try to replicate that exact same persona to create multiple different similar creators doing similar videos, but just presenting different faces. Presenting different faces also adds authority to the brand, because if I am a first-time viewer of the product, I see an ad with Angel, what's her name, Becky. I see an ad from Becky, and then the next week I see a retargeting ad from Rebecca or somebody else. Then these are 2 different people. It adds authority also from a consumer standpoint, because I see that multiple other people are using the product and it's something that people like to buy. And so that's going to increase my likelihood of conversion. Okay, hopefully these make sense. This is really, really important. These 2 strategies have allowed us to really stabilize the account and spend a lot more on advertising when it comes to meta ads specifically. Okay, so hopefully these 2 make sense. These 2 concepts are really, really important. And once again, we keep everything really, really organized in the command center, which is the sheet that I shared before, because it's really important. In fact, we have a UGC tracker where we keep track of all the collaborations that are approved, that are not approved, everybody that is ready to shoot videos for us. And then we also have a storyboard kind of like a sheet where we store all of the hooks, sorry, not the hooks, but the storyboards. Literally, the storyboard is something that consists of the hook, the product introduction. It's like a video framework. And once we find all the winning frameworks, we put them over here, we store them, and then that's what we send to the creator. As you saw over here, this is the storyboard, which is what I just showed you, and then we send them the framework. Very, very simple. Now, last thing that I want to talk about over here is actually how they scale and how we scale on their meta ad, specifically their ad account and the structure that we're using. We're using a 3-2-2 strategy in most cases. Excuse me. So this 3-2-2 strategy allows you to simplify the heck out of your ad account. So how does it actually work? We provide 3 images or 3 videos, 2 headlines, and 2 ad copies per ad set, and in a flexible format. So what Facebook is doing is that it's getting the 3 images or videos, 2 headlines, and 2 ad copies, and mixing and matching them so that we to create the most profitable ad. That's one way of doing it. The other way that we do it is that we just launch 3 to 5 ads within each ad set. Why do we choose to do CBO? We choose to do CBO because once we have an healthy account that's doing quite well, we want to have 1 campaign per product or per market, meaning you can have multiple, you can have the same product and multiple campaigns if you're marketing to like specific markets that have specific ad angles or advertorials, right? Markets at the end of the day can be quite different to each other, right? So we like to dissect it, but in this case, we're mostly just doing one product, even if it's like the same collection, 1 product within 1 specific market. And then we are essentially scaling creatively. We scale with creatives. It's creative first approach. We don't take an ad account first approach. It's all about creatives. So we launch new ad sets every week, right? With a DTC or flexible ads. Now it's called flexible ads. DTC were something called dynamic creatives, but now they're called flexible ads. So the way that we're launching is that we're launching new creative concepts, winning marketing angles with new creative concepts, and we're putting new concepts in the ad account every single week. And so the goal here is to scale, just from an ad account perspective, scale the campaign. So once we have a whole framework that I can also share, let me just share it very quickly. But we have this whole framework that we follow that allows us to scale clients very strategically. Where is it? All of these diagrams. Bear with me 1 second. I cannot find it. I did a video about it just not too long ago. So I guess you can take a look at that video, and because is it this one? No, it's not. Either way, I'm not going to talk about it in this video. I have a whole framework. I think it's 1 or 2 videos ago. I talk about the entire Facebook ad kind of like framework and strategy that we use. But we have like a specific rules that we follow that allow us to identify when is the right time to scale, when is the right time to descale, when do we turn things off, when we turn things back on, what are the rules? Because at the end of the day, there's a billion ways to scale an ad account. We just would like to stick to one strategy that works, that can be scaled upon multiple other clients, right? That's the best thing and most, I think, smart way to go about it. So once again, we use a CBO. We scale by 20% every day once we get good ROAS. So if we get good ROAS on day 1, we immediately scale by 20%. Good ROAS on day 2, we keep on scaling by 20%. As long or as soon as we see something that is giving us bad ROAS for like 3 days in a row, we decrease by 20. And that's the only rule that we use when it comes to scaling and descaling the ad account. All of the rest of our attention goes towards putting all of our resources into creative, new angles, winning angles, and winning creative concepts. What do I mean by creative concepts? What is my battery here? Okay, 11%. What do I mean by creative concepts? Let me show you an example, just so you know what I mean. On the sheet, we actually have a creative concepts tab, or call it whatever you want, sheet, where we essentially put all of the marketing angles that we want to test, and then we combine them. Let's just say we want to test the double chin angle. It's a winning angle, or let's just say turkey neck angle. We're targeting women that have turkey necks, and that's what's working for us. And then instead of just doing, an AI script and just scaling that, we want to test horizontally different creative concepts: a comment overload, a press to increase authority, a Google search image ad, a POV, an AI script, an ASMR video. We want to scale horizontally because we know that once the angle works, then it's just a matter of doing more creative and finding what creative concepts work. So that's what I mean by creative concept. I don't mean angle. I mean the angle is a whole different kind of category in itself. I mean just the ads, right? And if you want access to these, you can just, once again, get access to this sheet. We give you inspirational links so you know what an educational video is, an ASMR video is, a boomerang video is, so that you get inspiration for that. And then, of course, one other way that we really scale is with hooks. So we have this document that we got. Honestly, it's not even ours, but we found it, and we really see value in what they did. And so we're using it as a resource for our agency and for our clients. And it gives you a bunch of different scripts, or not scripts, but hook frameworks, or framework hooks, whatever you want to call it. And so you follow a specific framework, as you can see: number, niche, right? occupation, whatever, and then it gives you an example. So 3, right, in brackets, dog breeds, which is the niche, that as a canon behaviorist, whatever, I would never own myself. So it's a plug and play aspect, which is really, really interesting. And there's like 600 of these. So you can't stop coming from ideas. And look, you can get this from AI. So what I would do also, if you have like 3 hooks that really work well, ask AI, ask ChatGPT to come up with like similar hooks that are maybe have a different twist, right? You can do something like that, or you can just find new winning hooks, right? Show something completely different. And if you want to take that approach, this is also very good, because there's literally all of these are proven and work. At least we've tested them a lot, and they happen to work for us as well. And they're really, really good, honestly. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you got some value. If you are an e-commerce business and you are doing at least $50,000 to $100,000 a month, and you're interested in having your brand audited, I am offering some slots. Whether it's my team or me, we'll hop on a call. It's most likely going to be me, because I'm taking most of the calls lately. And we can just audit your business and see if there's an opportunity for you to build and grow and get to that next level. If there's an opportunity for us to do business together, we'll discuss. We'll have to see if we're also at full capacity, or if we have slots that are open. Okay. It's not a scarcity urgency thing. We actually only work with 10 to 12 clients, and we don't always have slots open. It's the truth. Okay, with no further ado, see you in the next video. If you want to book a call, there's a link below. Bye.